The great hall of the Galactic Alliance shimmered with the light of 1,000 stars. 12 alien representatives sat around a large round table, their faces showing worry and fear. For over 3,000 years, the Alliance had kept peace across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. Now that peace was ending. Ambassador Zilax, a tall blue-skinned being with 4 arms, stood up. His silver eyes scanned the room. "The reports are clear," he said in a low voice. "The Void Scourge has destroyed another solar system. That makes 17 in the past month." The room filled with whispers. Ambassador Kree, who looked like a large insect with glowing green wings, clicked her mandibles together. "Our scientists have run the numbers again," she said. "We have a 98.7% chance of total extinction within 5 years." No one spoke for a long moment. The Alliance had faced wars, plagues, and cosmic disasters before. But the Void Scourge was different. They were a hive-mind species that ate everything in their path. Plants, animals, even the energy from stars. Nothing stopped them. "We have tried to talk to them," said Ambassador Plex, a small purple being whose body was mostly brain. "They do not answer. We have tried to fight them. Our best weapons barely slow them down." Ambassador Voon, who floated above his chair like a jellyfish, rippled his transparent skin. "Then we must accept our fate. The Void Scourge will consume us all." "No." Ambassador Zilax hit the table with 2 of his 4 hands. "There is one species we have not asked for help." The room went quiet again, but this time with tension. "You cannot mean..." Ambassador Kree began. "I do," said Zilax. "The humans." Voices rose in protest. Humans were new to space travel. Their planet, Earth, was in a small solar system at the edge of the galaxy. The Alliance had watched them for centuries but had never made contact. "They are too primitive," said Voon. "Their technology is thousands of years behind ours. They still fight wars among themselves," added Plex. "They are violent and unpredictable." Ambassador Zilax nodded. "Yes, and that is exactly why we need them." He touched a button, and a 3D image of Earth appeared above the table. "Humans think differently than any species we have ever met. They are not logical like us. They take risks that make no sense. They try things that should fail. And sometimes, against all odds, they succeed. But they are so few," said Kree. "Just one planet. The Void Scourge has already eaten 17 solar systems this month alone." "True," said Zilax. "But have you studied human history? They were almost wiped out by an ice age when they had only stone tools. They survived. They have faced plagues that killed half their population. They recovered. They have stood on the edge of nuclear war multiple times. Each time, they pulled back." He looked around the table. "And most importantly, when things seem most hopeless, humans become most creative, most determined, most dangerous." Ambassador Plex's large head pulsed as he thought. "You suggest we bring humans into a galactic war. Their planet would be a target. Their planet will be consumed anyway, along with all of ours," said Zilax. "At least this way, they have a chance. We all have a chance." The council voted. It was close, but in the end, they agreed. Contact would be made with Earth. As the meeting ended, Ambassador Voon floated over to Zilax. "The odds are still against us," he said. "Even with humans, the Void Scourge will most likely destroy us all." Ambassador Zilax smiled for the first time in weeks. "True, but if there's one thing I've learned about humans, it's that they don't care about odds. And sometimes that makes all the difference." The next day, 5 Alliance ships set course for Earth. Their mission: to recruit the most unpredictable species in the galaxy for a war that seemed impossible to win. Lily Martinez yawned as she watched the screens at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station. The night shift was always quiet. She took a sip of her coffee and glanced at the clock. 3 more hours until her shift ended. Then all the alarms went off at once. "What the..." Lily jumped up, her coffee forgotten. The main screen showed 5 objects entering Earth's orbit. They moved too fast and too smoothly to be asteroids. She grabbed the phone. "Sir, we have multiple unknown objects in orbit. They aren't ours, and they aren't Russian or Chinese either." Within an hour, the whole world knew. TVs showed the strange ships hovering above Earth. People rushed to stores for supplies. Some prayed, others panicked. At the United Nations in New York, world leaders gathered in an emergency meeting. Nobody knew what to do. The military wanted to shoot down the ships. Scientists wanted to try to communicate. Religious leaders called it the end times. Then one of the ships moved. It sent down a smaller craft that landed right on the UN building's lawn. Soldiers surrounded the ship, guns ready. The ship's door opened slowly, and a blue figure with 4 arms stepped out. "I am Ambassador Zilax of the Galactic Alliance," it said in perfect English. "We come seeking Earth's help." 24 hours later, Lily found herself in a secret room deep under the Pentagon. She was one of 12 humans chosen to meet with the aliens. Dr. Alan Wright, a physicist from MIT, sat beside her. On her other side was Major Sam Kelly, a strategy expert from the Army. Ambassador Zilax stood at the front of the room with 2 other aliens, Ambassador Kree, who looked like a giant insect, and Ambassador Plex, who was small and purple with a huge head. "We face extinction," Zilax explained. He showed them 3D images of the Void Scourge, black shadow-like beings that moved as one. They consume everything. Plants, animals, even energy itself. "Why come to us?" asked Dr. Wright. "You're clearly more advanced." "We are older, yes, but not better," said Zilax. "We have fought the Scourge for 3 years. We have lost every battle. Our scientists give us a 98.7% chance of total extinction within 5 years. Major Kelly leaned forward. "And you think we can help?" "How?" Ambassador Kree stepped forward. "You humans think differently. You are unpredictable. You try things that have no logical chance of success. And sometimes we succeed anyway," said Lily, understanding. "Exactly," said Zilax. "The Void Scourge predicts responses based on logic and pattern, but humans rarely follow patterns." Dr. Wright looked at the data on his tablet. "You say they're a hive mind, all connected." "Yes," said Ambassador Plex. "They share one consciousness across billions of bodies." Major Kelly was studying the battle footage. "Their movements are too perfect, too coordinated." "That could be a weakness," said Lily. The others looked at her. If they all think as one, they might not handle chaos well. Dr. Wright nodded slowly. "We could disrupt their communication somehow." Major Kelly was already making notes. "We need to see their biology. Study how they connect to each other." Ambassador Zilax looked surprised. You want to fight them, even knowing the odds." Lily laughed. "Ambassador, humans have never cared much about odds." Sam Kelly smiled. "Tell us what ships you can give us. We'll need to gather the right people." Dr. Wright was already drawing diagrams. "And samples. I need samples of the Scourge to study." The 3 aliens looked at each other in shock. They had expected fear, or at least lengthy debate. Instead, these humans were already planning how to fight an enemy that had defeated 12 advanced civilizations. For the first time in years, Ambassador Zilax felt something he had almost forgotten: hope. "Perhaps," he said quietly to Ambassador Kree, "we were right to come here after all." 1 week after the aliens arrived, Dr. Alan Wright stared at the sample of the Void Scourge in his lab. The black, moving substance was kept in a special container made with alien technology. It seemed to pulse with an odd rhythm. "What do you see?" asked Zilax, who stood nearby. "Patterns," said Alan. "Your scientists said the Scourge was random, but it's not. Look." He pointed to the screen showing the sample's movement. "Every 12 seconds, there's a tiny pause. Then it starts again." The blue alien leaned closer. We never noticed this. That's because you were looking for big patterns, but sometimes the most important things are small. Across the hall, Major Sam Kelly met with Captain Olivia Banks from the Navy and Jack Rivera, an engineer known for solving impossible problems. They watched videos of the Scourge attacking Alliance ships. They always attack the same way, said Olivia. They focus on the biggest threat first, then work down the line. Jack nodded. And they never retreat, not even when they're losing. Because they don't understand losing, said Sam. A hive mind with billions of parts doesn't worry about losing a few thousand. Jack tapped his fingers on the table. What if we could make them worry? Force them to care about each part. How would we do that? Asked Ambassador Cree, who had been quiet until now. Jack grinned. I have some ideas, but I'll need access to your ship's engine room. 2 days later, Lily Martinez found herself on an Alliance ship orbiting Earth. The ship's command center was filled with both aliens and humans. Dr. Wright was showing his findings to a group of scientists. The Scourge communicates through a form of quantum entanglement, he explained. Each part is connected to every other part, but there's a pattern to it, a rhythm. If we can disrupt that rhythm, they would be confused, finished Ambassador Plex. But how? We have tried electromagnetic pulses, radiation, everything. Not everything, said Alan. He held up a small device. This uses Earth metals in a way your science never tried. It creates a counter-rhythm that should interfere with their connection. On the other side of the room, Jack Rivera was showing his creation to Major Kelly and Captain Banks. I call it a chaos bomb, he said proudly. It doesn't hurt them physically. Instead, it floods their hive mind with random data, like a million people all shouting different things at once. Will it work? Asked Xylax. Sam looked at the device. Only one way to find out. The Alliance provided a small ship. Jack, Olivia, and 2 alien pilots took Alan's device and the chaos bomb to a small moon where a Scourge scout group had been seen. Their plan was simple: test the weapons, then get out fast. Back on the main ship, Lily, Sam, and the ambassadors watched through a video link. The small ship approached the moon. The black mass of the Scourge noticed them and began to move their way. Now, said Olivia's voice over the link. Alan's device activated first. The Scourge's movement became jerky, less smooth. Then Jack launched the chaos bomb. It exploded in a flash of light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Scourge began to move in different directions. Some parts went left, others right. Some froze in place. It's working, shouted Jack over the link. They're confused. The celebration was short. Suddenly, the Scourge began to move as one again. They surged toward the small ship. Get out of there, Sam yelled. The ship turned and accelerated away, but not before they saw something new. The Scourge had changed formation. They were protecting their center now. They learned, whispered Xylax. They never adapt that quickly. They're afraid, said Lily. We scared them. Sam looked at her. And that means we can beat them. For the first time, they had proof. Humans could make a difference in this war. The Alliance base on Moon Europa buzzed with activity. 1 month had passed since the first successful test against the Void Scourge. Now humans and aliens worked side by side, preparing for a real battle. Jack Rivera moved through the crowded halls carrying his newest invention. It looked like a simple metal ball, but inside was a mix of human and alien technology. Is that the new chaos bomb? Asked Olivia Banks as she fell into step beside him. Jack nodded. Version 4. It should affect an area 10 times larger than the first one. And it works faster. They entered the main lab where Dr. Alan Wright was working with Ambassador Plex. The small purple alien and the human scientist had become friends, despite their differences. Jack, Olivia, come see this, called Alan. He pointed to a screen showing a small piece of the Void Scourge. It was moving oddly, almost like it was sick. What did you do to it? Asked Olivia. "We infected it," said Plex. His huge head pulsed with excitement. "Dr. Wright created a biological agent that attacks the connection between Scourge parts." Ellen smiled. "It doesn't kill them. It just makes it harder for them to communicate with the hive mind." "Like cutting a phone line," said Jack. "Exactly," said Alan. "Each infected part is still alive, but it can't receive or send clear messages. And the best part is, they spread it to each other." Major Sam Kelly walked in with Ambassador Zillax. Both looked tired but happy. "The Alliance Council has approved our plan," said Sam. "We attack the Scourge at the Centauri system in 3 days." Everyone grew quiet. This would be the first major battle using human tactics and technology. The Alliance had lost every major battle so far. This had to work. "Show them the formation," said Xilax. Sam activated a hologram in the center of the room. It showed dozens of ships arranged in a strange pattern. "We're not going to use the traditional Alliance battle formation," he explained. "Instead, we're using what we call a school of fish approach." The hologram showed the ships moving like fish, breaking apart, and coming together in ways that seemed random. "The Scourge won't be able to predict our movements," said Olivia. "And each ship will have independent command. If the main ships are destroyed, the others can still keep fighting." Ambassador Zillax looked uncomfortable. "This goes against all Alliance military doctrine. Our ships have always moved as one unit with clear command." "And how has that worked so far?" asked Jack. The alien's 4 hands moved nervously. "Not well." "Then it's time to try something new," said Sam. 3 days later, the attack began. From the command ship, Lily Martinez watched with Zillax and the other ambassadors. 30 Alliance ships, each with human advisors aboard, approached the Scourge-infested Centauri system. The Scourge reacted quickly, moving as a giant black cloud toward the largest Alliance ships. But the ships didn't stay in formation. They broke apart, moving in different directions. Some small ships darted forward, dropping Jack's chaos bombs. Others hung back, using long-range weapons. The Scourge seemed confused. Parts of it chased some ships, while other parts froze in place. "It's working," said Ambassador Cree, her mandibles clicking excitedly. Then Alan's biological agent was released. Green lights flashed from special cannons, spreading the infection into the Scourge mass. Slowly, parts of the black cloud began to drift away from the main body. "They're breaking apart," said Lily. "They can't maintain their connection." For 2 hours, the battle raged. 3 Alliance ships were lost, but the Scourge was driven back. For the first time ever, the Alliance had won a major battle against the Void Scourge. As the ships returned to base, Ambassador Zillax turned to Lily. "I did not truly believe it was possible," he said quietly. "I hoped, but I did not believe." Lily smiled. "That's the thing about humans, Ambassador. We believe in impossible things, and sometimes that makes them possible." 2 months after their first victory, the war had changed. Alliance ships, now using human tactics, won battle after battle. The Void Scourge was being pushed back. Major Sam Kelly stood before a group of alien officers on the training deck of the Alliance base. Each came from a different species, but all watched him with the same respect. "The key is unpredictability," Sam explained. "The Scourge expects patterns. Don't give them any." An officer raised his hand. "But without clear patterns, how do we coordinate?" "You adapt," said Sam. "Each ship captain must make decisions based on what they see, not just what they're told." On the other side of the base, Lily Martinez sat in a meeting with the Alliance Council. As Earth's new ambassador, she wore a simple blue uniform with a small Earth patch. "The Centauri system is fully cleared," she reported. "And we've pushed the Scourge back from the Rigel sector as well." Ambassador Zillax nodded. "Thanks to human strategies, we have reclaimed 7 systems, but the Scourge is learning." "What do you mean?" asked Lily. Ambassador Cree stepped forward. "They are changing their tactics, becoming less predictable themselves." On a large screen, They watched recent battle footage. The Scourge no longer moved as a single mass. They split into smaller groups, attacking from multiple directions. They're copying us, Lily realized. Yes, said Xylax. They adapt faster than we expected. In the lab, Dr. Alan Wright frowned at his data. The biological agent that had worked so well was becoming less effective. The Scourge was developing resistance. We need to change the formula, he told Jack Rivera, who was working nearby. Jack looked up from his own project. How quickly can you do that? A week, maybe 2, said Alan. But they'll probably adapt to the new version even faster. Jack sighed. It's like they're learning from each defeat. They are, said Alan. That's what makes them so dangerous. The next day, an urgent call came from the front lines. A large Scourge force had broken through Alliance defenses and was heading toward the Proxima system, only 2 jumps away from Earth. Captain Olivia Banks led the defense fleet. 30 ships against a Scourge force 3 times that size. They used all the tactics that had worked before: chaos bombs, biological agents, unpredictable movements. But this time, the Scourge was ready. They ignored the chaos bombs. They moved in ways that made them hard to target. And they focused their attacks on the ships carrying the biological weapons. From the command center, Lily, Sam, and the ambassadors watched in horror as Alliance ships were destroyed one by one. We need to order a retreat, said Ambassador Plex. Sam shook his head. If they retreat the normal way, the Scourge will pick them off one by one. He grabbed the communication device. Captain Banks, this is Major Kelly. Execute Broken Mirror. Broken Mirror was a retreat plan they had developed but never used. Instead of all ships jumping away at once, each ship would fire in a different direction, creating a cloud of debris and energy signatures, then jump away on their own path. On screen, they watched as the Alliance ships suddenly fired in all directions. The area filled with explosions, debris, and energy readings. The Scourge mass hesitated, unsure which ships to target in the chaos. One by one, the Alliance ships disappeared, jumping to safety. When it was over, they had lost 8 ships out of 30. A heavy loss, but not the total defeat it could have been. That was too close, said Lily. Ambassador Xylax looked grim. The Scourge is adapting to our tactics, and they are heading toward Earth. Sam turned to the group, his face serious but determined. Then we need to stop reacting to them and start hitting them where it really hurts. Where? Asked Ambassador Cree. Their center, said Sam. It's time to find their home base and take the fight to them. The room grew quiet. No one had ever tried to find the Scourge central hive. It would be the most dangerous mission yet, but they were running out of options. The war room was silent as Dr. Alan Wright showed his findings on the main screen. After months of studying the Void Scourge, he had finally found a pattern in their movements. All Scourge forces return to this region of space every 42 days, he said, pointing to a dark area between 2 spiral arms of the galaxy. I believe their central hive is somewhere in this zone. Major Sam Kelly studied the map. That's deep in uncharted space, and the area is still huge. We can narrow it down, said Jack Rivera. He stepped forward with a small device in his hand. I've modified our sensors to detect the unique quantum signature of their hive mind. The closer we get to their center, the stronger the reading will be. Ambassador Xylax looked worried. Even if we find it, the central hive will be heavily protected. Our mathematicians calculate a 0.01% chance of success for any attack. Lily Martinez smiled. Then we're doing better than I expected. Sam laid out his plan. A small strike team would take the fastest Alliance ship and locate the central hive. Once found, they would deploy a new weapon that Alan and Jack had created together, a supercharged version of both the Chaos Bomb and the biological agent. We're calling it the Disconnect, explained Alan. It won't kill the Scourge, but it will break their hive-mind connection permanently. They'll become individuals, unable to act as a single entity. "Who will go on this mission?" asked Ambassador Cree. "I will," said Captain Olivia Banks. She had recovered from the battle at Proxima and was eager to get back in the fight. "Me too," said Jack. "The disconnect will need adjustments based on what we find. I need to be there." Sam nodded. "I'll lead the mission." "No," said Lily firmly. "You're needed here, coordinating our defenses. If this mission fails, you'll need to protect Earth." In the end, a team of 6 was chosen. Captain Banks, Jack Rivera, 2 human specialists, and 2 Alliance pilots who volunteered despite the odds. The day of departure arrived too quickly. The sleek Alliance ship, renamed Hope's Edge, was loaded with the disconnect and prepared for the dangerous journey. As the team made their final preparations, a larger Alliance fleet gathered. Their job was to create a massive diversion, attacking Scourge forces across multiple systems to draw attention away from the strike team. Sam gave last-minute instructions to Olivia. "Remember, finding the hive is only half the mission. The disconnect needs to be placed at the center of their control node to work properly." She nodded. "We'll get it done." Dr. Wright handed Jack a small case containing vials of the biological component. "The formula is stable now, but it will only stay that way for 72 hours. After that, its effectiveness drops rapidly." "Then we'll be quick," said Jack, securing the case to his belt. As the team boarded their ship, Lily stepped forward to address them. "The odds are against you. The risk is enormous. But know that every being in the Alliance is grateful for your courage." Captain Banks smiled. "Odds are just numbers, and humans have never been good at math." The Hope's Edge lifted off smoothly, accelerating toward the jump point that would take them into uncharted space. From the command center, Sam, Lily, Alan, and the ambassadors watched the main fleet depart for their diversion mission. For 3 days, they would create chaos across known space, giving the strike team their chance. "Do you truly believe they can succeed?" Ambassador Plex asked Lily quietly. She looked at the screen where the Hope's Edge had just disappeared into jump space. "I believe they will either succeed or die trying. That's what humans do when everything they love is threatened." Ambassador Zillax placed one of his 4 hands on her shoulder. "Then, for the sake of all our worlds, let us hope that human determination is enough." The next 72 hours would decide the fate of the galaxy. For 3 days, no one in the Alliance Command Center slept much. The main fleet fought battle after battle, drawing Scourge forces away from the uncharted region where Hope's Edge had gone. And for 3 days, there was no word from the strike team. On the morning of the 4th day, Lily Martinez stood staring at the communication screen, willing it to show some sign of life. Major Sam Kelly and Dr. Alan Wright stood beside her, equally tense. "The disconnect formula will be degrading by now," said Alan quietly. Sam checked his watch. "And the fleet can't keep up the diversion much longer. They've taken heavy losses." Suddenly, one of the Alliance officers called out, "Incoming transmission. It's weak, but it's using Hope's Edge signature." The room fell silent as static filled the main screen. Then, through the noise, they saw Captain Olivia Banks. Her face was dirty, and there was blood on her uniform, but she was smiling. "Mission accomplished," she said, her voice breaking up. "Repeat, mission accomplished. The disconnect has been deployed at the central node. Request immediate extraction." The room erupted in cheers. Ambassador Zillax's 4 arms all raised in celebration. Ambassador Kree's wings buzzed with excitement. Even the usually calm Ambassador Plex was bouncing up and down. As the nearest Alliance ships raced to help Hope's Edge, reports began coming in from across the galaxy. The Void Scourge was changing. The massive black clouds were breaking apart. Individual units drifted aimlessly, no longer acting as one. "It worked," whispered Alan. "The hive mind is actually breaking down." 2 days later, a damaged but intact Hope's Edge returned. As Captain Banks and Jack Rivera stepped off the ship, they were greeted as heroes. That night, They told their story to the gathered Alliance Council, how they had followed the quantum signature to a small dark planetoid, how they had found the central node, a massive pulsing structure that coordinated the entire Scourge consciousness, how they had fought their way through defending Scourge to plant the disconnect at the very heart of the node. "We lost Cooper and Singh," said Olivia sadly, remembering the two specialists who didn't make it back. "And both our Alliance pilots were injured. But not before they flew us out of there," added Jack. "They're the real heroes." Ambassador Zilak stepped forward. "Today, the Alliance mathematicians have recalculated our chances of survival. From 1.3% when we first came to Earth, we now stand at 99.8% certainty that the Void Scourge threat has been neutralized." Lily shook her head. "Not neutralized. Change. Our reports show the individual Scourge units are still alive. They're just not connected anymore. Some are even trying to communicate with our outposts," said Sam. "Without the hive mind controlling them, they seem to have individual personalities. So we've made a new potential ally, not destroyed an enemy," said Alan. "That's even better." 1 week later, the Alliance Council met in their Great Hall again. But this time, the mood was very different. Gone was the fear that had filled the room when they first discussed the Scourge. Now the hall was bright and filled with representatives from all 12 Alliance species, plus humans. Ambassador Zilak stood at the center. "Today, we officially welcome Earth as the 13th member of the Galactic Alliance. Without humans, none of us would be here today." Lily stepped forward to accept Earth's place on the council. "We are honored to join you," she said, "and we look forward to exploring the galaxy together as equals." As the ceremony ended, Ambassador Plex approached Dr. Wright. "I have been wondering," he said, his large head pulsing thoughtfully. "Why do humans keep trying when the odds are so bad? Why not accept the logical outcome?" Ellen smiled. "Because throughout human history, we've learned one important lesson." "What lesson is that?" asked the alien. "That the odds are only overwhelming until someone proves they're not." Across the stars, a new age had begun, and humanity was ready to face whatever came next, regardless of the odds.